Welcome once again to The Lost Signals Discusses Games and Gaming Culture, a pretentious, philosophical, pedantic podcast where we focus on various aspects of video games as well as other issues and topics within gaming in general.
Hey, this is Matt.
And Jesse.
We host American Slacker Podcast, your weekly rundown for weird news, entertainment suggestions, and unique games.
Every other week, we bring on guests from all walks of life, like comedian Mark Forward of Letterkenny.
Yeah, we just call it tuna up here. We're pretty clear that it's a fish.
And NYC stand-up powerhouse Ian Fidance.
I want to fucking punch you in the fucking face with positivity and fun, motherfucker.
Actor Brandon Crane of Stephen King's It.
Because a lot of the work that I did, like Wonder Years to It, they were all very, period 50s, 60s, and, chucks were all the rage.
And Art the Clown from Terrifier, David Howard Thornton.
They also had to make a mold of my face while I was there, so that was kind of claustrophobic in itself.
Musician Dan Simons of Just Surrender.
First time ever going out on tour, you remember every stop.
And Nick Thompson of Hit the Lights.
All the stuff that I think that people go through life, and it's just like my outlet for that.
Watch the video version of American Slacker on our YouTube channel and listen to our show on your favorite podcast app.
New episodes every Wednesday. Visit our website, aspodcast.com, for everything American Slacker.
That's it.
There you go.
Hello there. Welcome back to Lost Signals, Games and Gaming Culture. And it's still guest month, sort of, or at least guest block. And today, our show is being hijacked by Matt and Jesse, the American Slackers from American Slacker Podcast. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Doing
Thanks
fantastic.
for having us on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming by. And we are today going to talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto, the series, sort of in general, like sort of a broadish history, some interesting facts and tidbits about it, like the lineage of the games, and also some stories of our own relating to some of the titles that we enjoyed the most or like had certain, I guess we'll say, nostalgic memories, fond experiences with.
Oh, so many.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
A ton.
Because I think... Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, personally for us, I mean, this ties into the bare friendship that me and Jesse share.
Yep.
Like,
American Slacker Podcast would not exist
the roots
without
of
built
American
on
Slacker.
built on
on
GTA.
GTA.
Yep, exactly.
Literally.
And
So-
you guys had mentioned that to me.
Online? Is that like you were playing GTA Online?
No, the back of Spanish class in the 7th grade.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. We perfect timing. I mean, PSP had come out around the same time, I believe, and we both were able to play like PSP, even different classrooms with each other, like playing GTA on like in a LAN like style wireless LAN.
Yeah, that was a little bit later in high school. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, all throughout the more secondary schooling that me and Matt had together, we were playing Grand Theft Auto and talking about it the entire time.
I mean, it's big time. So you guys, the funny thing is, like, so we were trying to like get you guys on for a guest episode, anyways, and you had mentioned like, oh yeah, basically we're friends because of GTA. Like, well, let's make that our topic. So let's start off because Matt did a shitload of research, way more than I did, and we got a bunch of notes here. So the first thing is we're sort of going to start at the beginning, and it's actually a game called Lemmings. It all starts with a game called Lemmings, apparently.
So American Slacker wouldn't exist without Lemmings, actually.
Yeah,
Realistically,
it goes back even further than that, yeah. Which was from 90, 91, looks like. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes on the phone. But it's for the fucking Amiga, which is ridiculous, by the way, if anyone remembers or had that.
The Amiga?
Yeah. It was like, what is one of the
Very early
consoles.
Yeah. Failed out.
Yeah, you guys, I just want to give you a little, I don't know if I ever mentioned it. I had an Atari 2600 growing up. I played in television. The first, what is it, Coleco or Nintendo?
ColecoVision, yes.
And then then 90s, I didn't really play anything, and I didn't really play anything seriously until I got a PS2. I inherited it from my brother-in-law in 2005. So basically, there's a 15-year gap, more or less, in my video games. So if I seem even more clueless, that is why.
Hey, we'll be able to catch you up on about a decade and a half here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just imagining how wild of a jump that is to go from like, it's 8-bit or to like full on 3D PS2. That's wild.
Man, I think we got to 16 or maybe 24-bit.
It was a weird transition.
Who's counting bits?
But yeah,
so
go ahead.
DMA design in Dundee, Scotland. was the producers of that Lemmings game, which
Right.
came from a little character drawing that one of the designers did, and they kind of liked it, threw it into some games, and they actually tried to make levels for each other to beat, and tried to make them increasingly harder, which is where they were able to kind of spin it off into its own little
Now,
series.
have any of you guys played this game?
I remember Lemmings, and I think I might have played it, but again, it's very vague in my memory. I definitely remember of it, and I've
Seen
seen
it, never played it.
But I'm not 100% sure. If I even did, it was a long time ago, and probably one of my friends like at the time had it, and I maybe played a little bit of it at their house or something. But I don't remember it very well, to answer your question.
It's wild because it's actually it's a very popular game. Won
apparently,
many awards, and like even held its awards up until like '96. Apparently, like it's like one of the greatest top 10 greatest selling games of all time.
Yeah, so it's
which is wild.
Apparently, held up the test of time there. But it starts there, like you said, Jesse. DMA Designs was the name of the studio who did it, right? So then they started they're trying to expand like the open world idea in games, which of course at that time was hardly anyone was doing. It was hard to even do that because of the limits of the technology. So we're trying to figure it out. And I think, of course, many people are more familiar with the first two GTAs, but even then they were top down. They weren't like the ones you think of in the modern era. They're sort of top down.
Yeah.
There was a game that came out recently called Retro City Rampage that was like very much like using that as an influence. So yeah, so that the first one, the official first GTA was in '97 for PlayStation, and then they ported. I didn't know this. In '99 they did a Game Boy Color version, which is
it was completely horrible. I had it.
You played it.
Complete dog shit. Yeah.
All right. Well, good thing I missed that one then.
Yeah.
And it was interesting with the design of that first GTA. They want the top-down design wasn't out of choice; it was out of necessity because they couldn't quite get the buildings to work with the camera. It seemed like
Rendering
a glitchy
with that simple engine.
A glitchy mess, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was originally Race and Chase.
Yeah, man.
It was
the
original name
opposite, yeah, it was the opposite way around. So you were actually playing like cops trying to get bad guys.
I think you could play either. You could play either team, but they said it was shitty to be the cops because you had to follow the rules.
More fun to be a criminal, obviously, and like they took that idea to heart. It seems pretty much.
Very much so. Along with a glitch, I believe in their testing that ended up making the cops super aggressive.
Wow, really?
When you were the robbers, and they were like, "This is actually more fun to play this way."
That's awesome. I did not know that. Again, tidbit like they're like, "Oh, it's so super, way cooler to fucking have like 1,000 cops on your ass versus being one and just like you said, obeying all the laws and having to track down criminals." That's really funny.
Right, which is where it ended up kind of pivoting from Race and Chase to a better name, which was I think chosen by the Hauser brothers.
Yep.
Who they were working in music, I believe, at BMG Studios. I might be flipping BMG Interactive in London.
Okay.
They ended up working with DMA Designs on some of the stuff they programmed after Lemmings, and the Hauser brothers supposedly were the ones that said it can't be Race and Chase anymore if you're flipping it to what it is. It's got to be something that reflects the crime aspect
of it. You're right.
Of it. Thus, Grand Theft Auto's name was born.
Yeah, and thus the legend begins there, or at least it's. I feel like GTA is so like. At least if you're any interest in video games at all, if I say GTA 2, you know what series I'm talking about, right? I don't even have to like explain it. But yeah, it's a good move on their part. Good choice changing the name because of the gameplay.
Yeah, Race and Chase, 6. I don't see myself sticking in that long,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Versus
GTA, so that was like the start of it. And this is a very interesting one to me that you have in the notes here. Then the very first expansion, the standalone, was called GTA London 1969, which is the first ever standalone one expansion for anything on at the time it was PS1, which I totally did not know about, and I only vaguely remember playing a little bit of 69, like if you will, London 69. Later on when they did like a port, they did like a remaster or whatever, like they reported it or they redid it a couple of years later, I think, as like a package, I think, with the other GTAs.
Yes. Yeah, there was a combo disc. I only played this one at like a friend's house, man. It was fun. It was just like GTA with a different skin though, realistically.
Yep. Yeah, a couple cutscenes added in as well.
Yeah, it was just it was you had the UK feel, which was cool. And I mean at the time, things were simple in gaming. So I mean,
Yeah,
it was
true.
kind of a big thing for like to us. It didn't matter any difference, I guess. Probably, it was probably a whole new game in our minds at the time.
But yeah, so like they started to like sort of build their imprint, build like what became known, like what they're known for.
Yes.
So what that was
Also
Troopers
worth
were
mentioning
awesome.
it within Grand Theft Auto, the first one. I don't know if it's the first game. It probably not the first game to do it, but first game in the Grand Theft Auto series to have multiplayer.
Oh, really?
You could play PC LAN,
Yeah, which is
and you
wild.
could
Wow.
chase your friends around. So
I did not know that either, Jez. That's really awesome. Like I had no idea. Like again, I didn't play much of it, and only again later on in the port, and I didn't play much online. We'll talk about the online stuff later, but
I was gonna say I thought the PSP was the first multiplayer via Wi-Fi connection. But in doing research for this, yeah, that's what I came across is the fact that you could play LAN
right on.
first Grand Theft Auto.
That's cool. Yep. So that's where it starts, and then we start to move on. They put a sequel out, obviously, because the first one did pretty well, although like not as well as you might think, but it was fairly well received and had pretty solid sales on it.
Well,
So
the
now-
the
I'm
thing
sorry?
that made the first one super successful was the smear campaign that they ran against themselves.
Is
Yeah.
that true? Talk
Yeah.
about that more. What are you talking
So
about?
this is literally like the thing that they would end up battling years later. We'll talk about, but like they created the controversy that this game was a problem
Yes.
by hiring Max.
I did
Clifford.
not know that. So like
Yeah.
they sort of did a stealth PR move. Like, don't buy this game. It's
They hired the best PR guy.
Yeah, a man who like he was involved in like writing tabloids too. So he was like a wild man. Like he was capable
awesome.
of taking stories and just construing them. And dude, did he do a
Before-
good job?
Before the game ever came out, he was
Yeah.
putting out things to news outlets
Outlets and stuff.
saying that this
Wow.
game is going to turn children into criminals.
The creators literally are quoted as saying Max Clifford made it all happen. The whole
Yep.
GTA saga is like owed
Which-
to him.
Which does come back to bite them a little bit.
Yeah,
which
that's- I mean,
we'll
that-
Again,
mention
like I
later.
was saying before, yeah,
Yep.
it's so funny that like it's the thing that made him, but it also has almost broken them.
There's been a lot of that in the Grand Theft Auto Rockstar
universe,
yeah.
Now
Were
that
they
is super
the-
funny, and I didn't know that at all. Like, of course, like we'll get to it, but GTA is also known for having controversies. But apparently, you're saying they brought it on themselves to sell.
Oh,
more
they
copies of-
created it themselves,
Yeah,
very much
exactly.
so.
What's
What
up, Chris?
was- I think it was like 2002. I don't know. I was working at Borders at the time, and I think it was for GTA 3.
Yep.
They're like, hey, there's this game out where you can like pick up a prostitute, bang her, and then kill her or steal her money or whatever.
Yep.
Did they actually put that out? Because I didn't even know the name
Yeah.
of the bloody game. And all I know is there was this rumor that there was this game out where you could basically pick up a prostitute, sleep with her, basically beat her up and take her money. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, so
That-
that's GTA
that was
3.
part of that.
Yeah,
So-
that's
so
when.
They put that out themselves.
Yes. Oh
Well,
yeah. They,
I don't know if that because the only time that I saw recorded with the Max Clifford thing specifically was for the first one, but
Oh,
I
for
feel
one.
like this kind of carried with the name from there on out.
Yeah, for
almost.
sure. Like, it
'Cause
did, like
I didn't see them doing another. Did they do another PR campaign?
this was
that you
this was
found that?
this was not their like PR campaign. This was when the first outcry, like when it starts to haunt them, is the prostitute in 3. Sorry.
3. Yeah.
I didn't realize you were wondering if that was like a PR campaign. No. That was natural. That was
That was
people
not-
were like, wait, they're doing what in a
yeah,
child's
that was
video game?
actual outrage by the.
They wanted it
publishers.
to be like
Child.
rated R, like
Yes.
they wanted it like a badge to where you had to be over 18 to buy the game and you have an ID.
Yep.
This is before the game.
But
ratings then?
No, this is right around when
this
right
around
when it
then.
came out.
Yeah,
this
right
might
around
be
then.
responsible.
This,
if
I was
it's
gonna say this is the reason we have game ratings.
I mean, it's probably. a
But
big
before
part of it.
3, we had. Before 3, we had 2, which was more of a I wouldn't say a flop, but it wasn't nearly as well received as
Yeah, exactly.
GTA.
which
the
I don't
first
get
one.
because I like this one personally better.
Yeah,
You-
what's
you
better
got
about
multiple things that are
There's
added to this.
some improvements.
There's a lot of improvements. It's slightly better graphically.
Hmm.
The side mission queue was awesome as a kid. You were able to be, a taxi driver, a delivery guy, a cop, like whatever. There was like missions you could do on the side, and it was very open.
still top down
Which
view.
they say that like this was a problem. It was which they'll change in GTA 3. They thought that they left it too open to what you could do. Like
Oh,
it wasn't like
interesting.
guided enough.
Too much
Which
freedom.
I loved as a kid because it was a game that we would literally get on Rampage because back then GTA had a point counting system. So
Yes,
you
that's
would
right.
play with a friend and you would just try to get the highest point count, and like you also beat the level by getting a certain amount of points. Say it was $1 million points. That's how you unlock the next piece
Yep.
of the map.
And actually, the rampage function, and I believe the wanted level stars coming down. I think that was introduced in 2.
Yes, I
Right,
think you're
bro.
right. Yeah.
That's what that originates. Like again, one of the most famous mechanics.
Oh, and one thing that we missed on the first one is there were 3 cities that you could play in. You could play in Liberty City, you could play in Vice City, and you could play in San Andreas, which were 3 fictional cities that they had made for the names of the levels that you were playing on, essentially, for the first one, which then turned into the names of the cities that they used for later on.
They continued on. Yes. Unlike that, Grand Theft Auto 2 takes place in Anywhere City, which is a completely fictional city that's based on a bunch of different cities altogether.
Well,
yeah.
That's cool. Literally called Anywhere City. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. So like, listen, we used up all the good names already. Like, even in 3, ever since then, like, right, Liberty City, they've used that since they used Vice. They're like, these are good again. Like, you got the names down, we're fine, whatever. Anyway,
see, and I almost loved that fact that they went back and took from their old game for the names of the new, cities.
No.
That was something I kind of enjoyed and was like, oh, that's kind of nostalgic there.
Yeah, again, it's a cool move. Like, I respect them for it, and it's funny just that they're like, oh, whatever, because we're done now. We'll just use these names forever. We'll be in all these cities ever since.
And I believe it's also the game where they introduced fake DJs for the first time, where you have the actual guy on the air just talking, and it's completely scripted,
like doing shit. Yeah, and of course that is
a very
limited famous thing from the series. So it starts that starts in 2 as well. You're saying so. A lot of stuff started like more things than I thought. Like were originated earlier than I thought. It seems.
Yeah, they did go hard on this game. They made a 9-minute film that's out there. You can get it on Rockstar.com actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a 9-minute film. It's horrible, but it's like it's Claude, which is weird. Like good, yeah. So you see Claude for the first time here in this film.
That's strange, and that also interesting. I didn't know that. Again, deeper history. Like I like this series, but I'm not like a historian of it. So it's cool to sort of unearth all these little facts and trivia things in its history.
Oh yeah, it's wild, man. And I mean, now we're getting ready for the big jump in this next one here.
Well, and I would say before that, it's worth mentioning that there had been a bunch of things going on in terms of the companies that were actually designing these games. Take-Two, I believe, acquired BMG over in London, or Sony was then acquired by Take-Two, and that's I think where DMA first got into leagues with Sony to be doing all of the PlayStation exclusive stuff that they did with GTA 3 and all that. This is also when I think Rockstar actually is formed as somewhere between 2 and 3. Interesting.
And first one. Yeah.
There you go. And interesting enough, the Hauser brothers, the guys who were doing a lot of the music with DMG before the GTA stuff, they wanted to be rock stars. When they were coming out or coming up in their careers. Which is where we get the name Rockstar for the company that designs this game, along with Rockstar North, which is what DMG ends up becoming in Scotland. Or no, that's because then they have Rockstar Canada as well, and one in New York City, I believe.
They had a bunch of
the original one was New York City.
Yep.
Which is why they were so heavily based on Liberty City,
and that. The order I listed those in are not the order that they turned into Rockstar. It's probably, I think it's actually backwards from what I said.
But either way, like sort of again, so now they're establishing themselves. They got the company, they named themselves that, right? So now they're getting established, and now it's switching gens too. So it's like PS2 era. And for me, like at this time, it was early college for me, and I was broke. I didn't have I still was lugging around my N64, so I didn't have anything like. But my one roommate did. So now I've lumped them all like kind of grouped together. So 3 comes first. 3 is like the big one of the milestones in gaming in general. And I didn't know this either. That was 2001. It took them only a year to get to Vice City, which is probably my favorite. We'll speak a lot more about Vice City, but I'm just saying they released GTA 3 and Vice City within a year of each other. And I was like, that's fucking crazy to me. Like, I didn't realize it was such a small gap that they 2 of the probably most well-known popular ones to this day, even
only a year.
Yeah, they just banged them out. They're like, here you are. Here you go, motherfuckers.
I wondered, they were trying to shoot for the stars right from the bat. So I was wondering if they were having these renders already pre-built for Vice City for usage in 3 originally.
Well,
they had a jump on it.
It's such a different landscape though. I did watch something where they were talking specifically about making sure that the neon in Miami reflected well and like actually looked realistic,
Like it, yeah.
along with the very iconic style buildings that you have from like Miami.
Yeah. The influence. Yeah, and that's definitely the biggest improvement for Vice City, honestly. But coming into 3, man, literally they were worried because they were having games like Driver come out, and then Driver came out, and then they were already talking about they were going to slam out Driver, the sequel.
Right.
They were going to be free roam, and then it was going to be basically GTA.
Yep.
So that's why Rockstar like kickstarted right into trying to make this 3D world,
which was totally different than the top down that they had dealt with for the first 2.
Dude.
They had practice with 2 or with a couple games beforehand. 2 that I think were worth naming were Body Snatchers, which almost made it to the N64.
Wow, really?
It was like some sort. It was too violent, they said, for like Nintendo, and I think that's always kind of been the criticism on Grand Theft Auto for Nintendo is that Nintendo's the home of Mario. That's where you jump on mushrooms and Goombas.
Mario doesn't have gats.
Yeah.
You don't you don't pick up prostitutes and go to a strip club and commit crimes and shit on Nintendo's hardware.
And then the other game, which I think was kind of influential on the GTA series, was called Silicon Valley.
Never heard of it.
Silicon Valley something else. I forget what the end of it is, but basically you're a computer chip and you're running around in a valley, inserting yourself into different robotic animals so you can control them and do different things. And the whole point
sounds really cool.
Yeah, the whole point was
really
to
cool.
see what you can do, and like experiment with the open world that they give you. So that came over to GTA as well,
along with a couple producers and writers that were from the 3D writing, and that's what helped kickstart this whole fucking thing. Really, I mean, they brought over the realm of 3D knowledge already, and just wrote this fucking beautiful code out, man.
Did it?
I mean,
along with the Hauser brothers doing a lot of the writing. I think Dan Hauser worked a lot with Laszlo, who is like one of the voices that you hear throughout the GTA series from 3 on. Or maybe even 2 on, and it's just fantastic. They've been fantastically written games, and it's sometimes campy here and there, but it's kind of a satirical parody of the U.S. anyway.
Yeah, and I mean it always has been that, but like I said, given all that, all those elements came together. They're like, all right, we got everything in place, and they drop fucking 3 on everybody, and it just changes the landscape. I think.
And you remember the first time you saw that game? Do you remember the first time you saw that game?
I do, actually.
yes, I do.
Quite vividly.
I was enamored for like 6 hours. My brother had gotten it, and I was just like, what? And I just sat there playing it forever, being like, this can't be possible. This can't be possible. It's a whole world.
With you. Yeah, it blew everyone's mind. They were like, holy shit, like, this is the new, like, literally, this is what games can do. Games can be. Like,
I can do anything.
I got it on Christmas of 2001, I believe. And ended up, like, I had one of those big old swivel TVs that was on like a stand.
Hell yeah!
I know
I was playing it on there, all fuzzy edged and everything, but it was fantastic.
Awesome.
Another thing worth mentioning: the fact that this took place in Liberty City. The 9/11 terrorist attacks were not like lost on the creators of this game.
Yep.
They originally had things that looked like the Twin Towers in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were taken out.
Right.
They took out collision physics with the planes.
Yes.
So that you couldn't run into them with a car or do anything like that.
Which I always wondered why they were so shitty with that, and it explains it.
They clipped the dodo's wings so you couldn't fly it around into buildings.
Yeah.
Well, they seemed to be okay with it when we got to GTA 5.
Yeah. Well,
yes, it changed.
Time
passed, and I thought about that too, Chris. That was something that crossed my mind in the past few days. Is like, what changed? Is it just the amount of time, and now you're allowed?
But it's got an achievement named for that, but I'll leave that to him if he decides to.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know if I'll mention that, but anyways,
that'll be in the Patreon version.
Yeah, it's a hidden secret Easter egg like GTA does as well, so you have to find it. But
and the last major effect that the 9/11 terrorist attacks had on GTA is the fact that they had to change their whole art scheme. They had a poster that originally included. I guess the towers in the background.
Yeah, it must have. Yeah.
The editor ended up clipping portions of that poster, stylizing them into the comic book style art that we see now as basically the image of GTA.
Yeah.
It was based off of 50s movies posters, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that, right? Like, they're very iconic, but you can definitely see, like, sort of the style, the influence they're going for there,
Yeah.
and have done ever since for
They
sure.
were really careful. They removed like an element of terrorist like reference in like a couple missions too.
Yep.
Right.
And they postponed it by a month. So they weren't too far, but they wanted it was literally slated to come out the same month.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like it took everyone. They had to just like, all right, we have to be
Also,
respectful and move
their
a
New
couple
York
things.
offices were evacuated for a number of weeks, if not I
After
think
that,
it might have
yeah.
been 2 months or something like that after it happened, because they
Sure.
were right in downtown Manhattan, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. And yeah, right. Like I almost forgot about that. Like it was right around that time. And they're like, maybe we should just edit a little bit and just make sure everything's not not going crazy with it.
Tone it down a little bit, but it was still pretty wild.
Yeah.
Sure, even so. But to your point, Matt, yeah, I remember. So my roommate sophomore year had a PS2. He's like, yeah, I got GTA. Like he also had Vice City, or by the time I actually played,
baby.
we'll get to Vice City, but I actually played Vice City first, but he had both. So like
That's
I just
wild.
happened to play Vice City first. I was like, well, I'm gonna play 3 now, of course. So basically, like I was a year late, kind of, but I got to play both in one basically ginormous marathon.
I don't know if I'd rather my way or your way, because that's kind of fucking awesome, honestly. Because
it was fucking sweet. So
Yeah.
you guys have a big story about Vice City, so I'm gonna turn it to you in a sec. But mine is that I played it so much, so we were in the dorm room, and I'd just like be sitting there for coming back from class playing fucking Vice City. He's like, dude, it's cool that you're enjoying this, but when he's like, all it is explosions and curses and 80s music. I'm like, yeah, man, that's why it's fucking awesome. And he's like, I get it, but like, it's not that great when you're just it's not good background stuff. Like, it's not a good watching game. Sure, it's great to play, but I did double kill 3 and Vice City, and they blew my mind, and I still love them to this day. So that was like my like entry experience. I'm like, this shit is the best, and even the cheat codes and all that we can get to. But I think you guys specifically, Matt and Jesse, the Slackers, tell us your story and why Vice City specifically is so important to you.
Oh man, well this is the game that bonds me and Jesse. This is the one.
Oh, yeah.
This comes out right when we are in, I believe, like 7th grade Spanish.
Well, no, because this Vice City came out in 2002. So yeah, it probably would have been like 7th going into 8th grade. We were right around there, because I remember playing 3. Actually,
I don't think it was 3.
Would be.
I don't think it was 3.
It was a while.
It was right when this came out, because we were both talking about it, I believe. And you were.
I think you're right. It's been a while. Obviously, it's been like 20 years since I fucking since the events of discussion here. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was Vice City.
I don't remember how we met. Oh, you're in a doghouse.
Well, no, I knew it was Grand Theft Auto, but there's been a lot since.
I remember it
years
vividly, dude. You had a guide. You had the guide for the game, and I was like, "Bro, you play that?"
That's old school.
Well, I remember very vividly, first playing Grand Theft Auto 3, and then talking about Grand Theft Auto in general with you for about the last 20 years. So sorry if it's blurred. But yes, no, you're right. This was like the game that we really bonded over. It was this open world craziness where no rules applied. We would be in the back of Spanish trying to translate how to say there's a fire cat in my pants, while also looking up cheat codes to see how to get Tommy Vercetti to the top of the crime ring here. And just the story of this one really stuck with me too. I loved that it was like a parody of Scarface and Carlito's Way, and like all of those movies we weren't supposed to be watching at that age.
Yeah, man, exactly. And like again, like they've always sort of like, or at least around this era, like you can see that like they're taking the template from that and all that. And I'm glad you mentioned the cheat codes. Like that was something like, not that you haven't seen cheat codes before, but what you could do with them in this game was ridiculous. So like it was just an extra layer of fucking around fun, even if you don't, whether you were done the mission.
And it's to the point where I think I feel like my muscle memory still remembers the cheat codes. It's like left, right, L2, R2, L1, R1, left down, upright, left down, upright. Right?
Yeah,
that's all weapons, I think.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right. I totally believe you, because it's one of the ones I use. And yeah, eventually I would just pop it on and be like, boom, 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 boom. All right, I got infinite ammo and everything. I was like, oh, this shit.
I mean, like the one thing I always thought it was really cool about it, because like I said, I had a big gap in my game, was just basically to drive around and listen to the radio stations. So like for me, like Vice City was like the first time I actually had that kind of autonomy, because you did have the third person and you were behind the car, I'm like, this is cool. It's just like, I don't know. I would like play the game for a little while and then spend hours and hours and hours driving around. This is what I do with all the other ones too.
I bet you every one of us has done that, Chris. Like,
yeah.
I quote, like, I feel like I learned a lot about driving through GTA. It's like I would drive normally, stop at lights.
You know what not to do.
How was your driver's test when you finally, got your license?
Nailed it. First try, baby. First try. And you know why? Rockstar game.
Thanks to GTA, of course, yo.
Wait, where's the start button? Hey, okay. Oh, this is a wheel now.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, and the music in this one, to your point, I mean, this was straight up 80s. Like they stylized this flock of seagulls,
leading the flock,
yeah, man. Like you can't forget that. Like it's so iconic. But yeah, and to your point, I want to address two things. Well, one thing you mentioned, Jesse, Tommy Vercetti, of course, was two things about him. Is that A was the first voice protagonist, I believe, in the series, right? You were like, I forget what your name was even in 3, but you definitely
Claude.
Okay, you were definitely silent protagonist.
Yeah,
so, like,
he was silent. He was mute.
Yeah. And it was their way of trying to let the gamer.
Sure, you're supposed to like
have their own voice,
yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a little boring.
It was, yeah.
It just it wasn't like as much of a story compelling because you're silent. But now they got fucking Ray Liotta to be the guy you're playing. So now like you said, like Goodfellas influence, like all that shit. And they have the budget now, like you said, to get like the license for like Flock of Seagulls and all the other 80s like hairband songs, like shit like that. And to your point, Chris, cruising down the fucking streets of Miami or Vice City,
down the avenue.
Iggy Pop was the DJ for that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
along with they also had Laszlo in that one as well, carried over from 3, and you'll see him come up in every single GTA
ever since.
Yeah,
and a manatee. Awesome. They had some playwright, and he's like, and a manatee. Like they had.
I don't remember that specifically, but it was all great, is what we're saying.
It's always been a concentration for the design of these games is how the music plays out. It's the reason that when you drive around in GTA 5 now and you go up into the country, you get different radio stations. Literally, if you're listening to one, you will lose signal and pick up another radio station. Very purposeful in their sound design.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. They focused on that like a lot. It's good, Matt.
One of the things that's best about this is they capitalized. They took in the ideas and they made like a more realistic world that was happening. Like pedestrians were really more interactive, a lot more voices coming from pedestrians. There was elaborations and designs, whereas like if you go back and play 3, it's very boxy, very cardboard boxy. And in this one, there's the mall that you can go into. There's like shops that you can go to, which is like a whole new mind blowing thing that's wild about it.
Yeah, man.
Really fucking.
Which you see as like almost a teaser to what they end up doing in San Andreas.
Yeah, dude.
They push it every single time, and that's been a big thing. Almost probably one of the detrimental things to their timelines for getting games out is the fact that they've set high fucking bars, and they say we're gonna do something in 2 years, which should take 4 years.
Yeah, you're right. Like they've always had to push themselves, or like they want to. The fans themselves have a high bar, right? So they don't want to disappoint anybody, but that means like people always like, oh, it's gonna be in 5 years for the next GTA. Yeah, but it's gonna be pretty confident you can say it's going to be pretty fucking awesome. They're going to push a lot of stuff. Like you said, to push the tech, like see what they can do. Like we'll speak more about that, but yeah, for sure. And I think
I was gonna say San Andreas lost me riding the bike. I couldn't get the fucking bike
because either you love the bike or you hate the bike in San Andreas.
I loved it.
I couldn't figure that shit out. Again,
the bike is probably the glitchiest vehicle in all of GTA.
But the fact that you had it and you could bunny hop, it just brought back that like bully feel with the skateboard. You know what I mean? So it was like so cool to me. Like that sold me right away. I was like, this game's fucking different. Like San Andreas, they really started to break the barrier on this one. This is where they really like they have an open world that's huge. They've made the map probably double the size at least of like anything before. And they've incorporated so many different biomes of like desert, forest. It's the first time we really get the wild.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, that's
which is really fucking cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And a potential Sasquatch sighting.
Potential Sasquatch.
Yep, that's right. And the Easter eggs and all that, right? That they've always sprinkled as well, like shit like that. But
so you're looking from 1 year or for 1 year between 3 and Vice City. You're looking at 2 years between Vice City and San Andreas.
Right. So that's why I sort of lumped them together, like just because they're all for the same gen anyways. Like I think San Andreas was coming out about the tail end of when it was switching over. Like maybe it was a year or two left in that gen cycle, but yeah, like you said,
Yep.
San Andreas is sort of
It came out for both the PS2, PS3, Xbox, and Xbox 360
Okay, yeah.
for San Andreas. So you're right on.
yeah. So it was like switching, like yeah, you're right. It was the most impressive one, or at the time, like holy shit, like so now in California pretty much, but you can go again like to the desert area, to the mountains, and the city of course as well as always. But yeah, like you said, Matt, different biomes if you will, different sections,
Yeah.
and the map was motherfucking huge, and that was
Dude,
blowing everybody away too.
I heard people were like negative about that, some people, and I always was like enamored by that. Like I was always exploring, like I want to see every little crevice of this game, like because I was so curious as a gamer in my youth, like that. I was like, I need to see everything, you know.
No,
That was one of the big criticisms.
Yeah, I never felt that way. I don't know about you, Jess. I never felt that way.
I'm kind of in between because if you're just playing around and doing your own thing, it's fun because it's a giant map to explore. If you're playing missions and they want you to go from one end of the map to the other end of the map,
That was constant.
Yeah,
True.
that's a fair point.
That's where it probably has the biggest.
This is the first game where you can customize cars. You got like the Pimp My Ride shop, so you can make a car with like turbo and shit and fly so quick too. So
yep,
and the memes. Ah shit, here we go again. Like that's.
San Andreas is one of the most beloved games, like I think in general, and definitely in the series. And it's funny that like I like it, but again, I didn't play it as much as the previous two. So like Ian, my one friend, he fucking played the shit out of San Andreas, and like he has such an affinity for it. He's like, it's my favorite one, like the steel Big Smoke. How could you like all this shit? Right? Like,
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Let me get two number two.
Story in three,
a number 3 large.
In Vice City were great, but honestly, this story was really. It hit home for me. I thought this was like one of the best done stories. You know, they turns out they wanted to highlight like unknown actors and really get people that could do like the dramatic movie style, because like there was like a weird thing that like every time they got voice actors, they would try to be very like over the top, because they always thought like video game was like very like haha, you know, Mario,
right?
And so they wanted to really
This was also the first time that they had a black protagonist,
which was really,
like they only had like white Italian dudes for the last.
Yeah, I mean that was a big deal for sure. Like at least that.
I gotta go.
Okay, Chris is getting busted. Chris is getting busted. Cops are taking him away.
You guys have fun, and I'll talk to you later. Gotta go.
Wanted level just went up.
Peace. Yep.
Right,
5-star.
He's gonna do this.
5 stars.
Oh
Peace.
man,
he's gonna get that respray.
Yeah,
but anyway,
dude.
yeah, like so San Andreas again was the most ambitious one, again on the heels of 3 and Vice City, which are no joke, you know, which are still pillars themselves.
And you know, there were rumors with this one that it was supposed to be like LA, SF, and, San Francisco, and Las Vegas as well. I mean, I knew it was big, but I never got that from it, and like I've still been trying to track down the information on that.
They shrunk the casino into it. Remember, the casino was there, so that's kind of like their ode. They
Vegas
had one little sunflower strip, I think it was called. I can't remember.
Like and then they had like a hilly kind of area, I guess that could be San Francisco. Like, I mean, it seems like they were trying to do what they ended up doing in 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think at this point their ambitions were clearly there, but the tech just wasn't quite. So like you said, they had to sort of condense it. Like we'll put a casino on a strip, like that'll be good enough, as if it were Vegas, right?
I think that's the story of GTA in general. It's always like the limitations holding them just back from what they want.
Yes.
You know, they're always trying to manipulate it to get every little bit they can, but they always have bigger ambition than the tech can handle, it seems like. Because they, like I said, they wanted to do online with this one, I believe. And they ended up working in that shitty, like, console multiplayer that you could be in the same radius.
I don't remember that, really.
Yes,
you remember
I
that
do
at all?
remember playing that.
It was cool, but like
the camera would get too far and you'd kind of like get glitchy.
Yeah, you had to stay with each other. There was a circle radius, and it was really lame. You couldn't do any missions or anything like that. It was just to explore.
So there was a lot of ambition behind what they were trying to do. I mean, there was even rumors that they tried to make this like the most adult game possible. Like they had a bunch of paraphernalia in it, drug use, the hot coffee mod
that made it.
I was waiting
and
for
actually,
to bring that up. Yes.
Yeah, so the hot coffee mod literally almost brought it down.
And it ended up getting an adult rating because of it. But even before that, the developers were basically telling, I think it was Dan Houser, like, we can't have all this stuff in or else it's not going to be able to be sold. It's only going to be able to be sold in sex shops.
It could be like AO or whatever. Yeah.
So the big thing is they ended up making the hot coffee mod, which if anyone doesn't know, it's you get to, like, after a date, go home with the lovely lady and have sex with her as a blocky CJ.
Yeah.
And
Not that sexy. It's not that erotic, but it is there.
Nah.
Like, that was something that no other game really had at that point.
No,
and it got
Yeah.
buried in the code rather than deleted from
Yes.
the game,
Yep.
which is how PC gamers found it and revived it essentially.
They unearthed it and they like reverse engineered, put it back in pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
You could do it on console with modding as well. I actually had a hot coffee edition, and they wouldn't let me sell it at GameStop.
Yeah. Yes, because because the game actually ended up getting like we said before, the adults only rating after it had already sold millions of copies.
And they removed the hot coffee. They removed that whole thing too. They
Yep.
did remove it eventually. So there's a lot of them out there. You won't have it on there.
But you could have an
adult.
adult only version of the game
Ooh.
possibly.
I wish I kept mine. I think I ended up just giving it to somebody.
Yeah, I was like, that'd be valuable commodity at this point. It's collectible, but-
Probably is, honestly, man. It's wild. There's other things I wanted to make sure we talk about as well. I mean, the build of this game is one of the first games that is open world, and also you have the stats for CJ can get fat, he can get
Yes.
buff, he needs to eat, all the fun stuff like that. The gang takeover, very underrated element. They never brought back really. There's blocks that you control.
And spray
go
paint
along,
from what I remember, right?
from real life, you spray paint the area, take over the turf, fight the gangs. Remember you had to do gang war.
Yep. I do remember gang wars. Yep, for sure.
Oh, dude, it was so wild, and just so many little things about this game I think stick out for me. This is probably my favorite Grand Theft Auto of all time. I'm gonna say that right now because
right on.
just so much going on, and if they remaster a little better, I know there's one copy on Xbox, but it doesn't look that good, and that holds me back. The graphics are dated now, which sucks. But otherwise, this game is fucking
Plot wise, it's really good.
the plot is amazing. It's a movie in its own.
And then
That's another thing too. They always sort of had done that again, as they get their ambitions and their budget sort of blow up and they match, right? And then now it's like you said, very serious writing. They're still drawing inspiration from the stuff you said, the crime stuff from the 80s, 90s, but they're still telling their own story, and it's very, very mature. Which that's a good lead into 4. But to your point, you see a lot of it there in San Andreas, and again, they're just people expect more. So
What other game is conquering race issues as you're a kid?
Yeah, I mean,
it received a lot of criticism on that too. Certain, I think there was some anti-Asian lines that were cut from 3 eventually. There were a lot of people saying that CJ was basically just a stereotype of a typical hood black person. But I feel like those people didn't. I feel like they didn't play the game either.
Yeah, it's out of context what they're seeing, a little piece here and there, and being like, oh,
right.
Whereas they're building a story that has elements.
Whereas you
that are
come
gonna
to
be
love
weird.
this character that you play,
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a very diverse character too. I mean, with the connections you establish and you witness this character's mind expanding too throughout the story, as you do with every GTA, protagonist.
To a
but-
degree,
but,
sure.
but more so with this one than the previous ones.
Certainly,
before
yes.
it.
For sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Which again, man, there's just a lot in this one that's really special, and I hope any GTA fan that's out there, I hope they all have had a chance to play this, and if they haven't, they need to just
Check
get
out
them.
San
to do it.
Andreas. Yeah,
Then they also, between this one and the bigger title GTA 4, they actually released Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories
Oh, dude.
in 2005 and 2006. So they were putting stuff out, but in the 4 years between the 2 titles.
Yeah, smaller chunks.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Stories came out. Good call. Good call on that, Jess.
These are cool because these are PSP ports or PSP exclusives, and they're fucking multiplayer wirelessly. If you're
Well, it says PS2 also, but
they
I don't
probably
know.
did come out on PS2 after. I definitely
I
wouldn't have
remember
bought that.
PSP was the main thing it was
the main
coming out
platform
on.
that they released on. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jesse used to get in trouble playing this on our PSPs in school, because this came out I think when
Makes
we were
perfect
freshmen
sense.
in high school.
We
and,
could play from different classrooms.
classrooms.
As long as we were close enough. If we were on the other side of a wall from each other, we could actually play.
We'd be texting each other all right, try it now.
Get to the back of the class, sit at the back wall.
That's awesome, dude.
And dude, it was so fun. I mean, all it was, I think, all we could do was deathmatch, right?
Yeah,
That's
but
all we
it was still fun. It was a lot of fun. I really wish that there was. I remember I kept bugging you. I was like, "Is there any way for us to play free mode?" You're like, "No."
Yeah.
That would have been cool. But I mean, even so, they were still again pushing the boundaries. Name another series that at the time tried to do that or even did it. Well, yeah.
Open world multiplayer.
Yeah.
None.
Exactly. So again, yeah. So now they're building up, and like you said, like now everyone's like, oh, in the wake of San Andreas, so like, oh shit, man. Again, now we're switching gens again. I think it's about the mid cycle of the 360 era.
Yep.
Roughly, yeah. So they put out Little Mystery Stories, and the smaller.
Yeah,
stuff
it's weird looking at the timeline. You can see the Xbox 360 come to life and then die.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Wasn't a long lifespan for that bad boy, but there are good memories with that console.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So they're pushing boundaries, like you said, they're pushing boundaries in terms of the story, of the writing, the characters, and of course, on the tech side and all that, right? So now, like, oh shit, here comes the next one. So this one for me, now we get to 4 in 2008, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
Back to Liberty City, doing it right.
Now they're back.
Yeah.
Of course, for me, like that's a big thing for me. I live in the tri-state area, and I've been to New York hundreds of times, like a lot of times. So it was a big deal for me. When they like now it's like the most realistic. Like they had fucking MSG is there, like all the landmarks that and recognize. And if you've ever been to New York, like so, I remember this. My one roommate at the time, he was a friend. No, wait, sorry. My roommate's friend came over and I was playing it, and he was like, "Yo." And he was kind of an older dude. He's probably like 10 years older than us even at that point. And so I was like, yeah, GTA 4 just came out. It's fucking amazing. He's like, is that New York? He's like, is that fucking Manhattan? I'm like, yeah, man, it's exactly like Manhattan. He was recognizing places. And like, I believe there was also a small part of Jersey, like that you could go to, like the prison was there or something like that, if I remember the map right. Right. So to me, that was really one of the coolest things. I'm like, oh man, yeah, it's Liberty City again, but it's again new gen stuff, and it's exactly the grid, like in digitized Manhattan pretty much and surrounding areas. And when I say, I'll stand by this, 4 is my favorite one, or I think the best one at least, both, I suppose, because of the story. And I think you had mentioned this earlier, Jess, so you can talk about it too, but it was a much darker tale. Like, yeah, it had the general trappings, like the general stuff, but he was basically, I believe, was a Serbian, like refugee or immigrant,
ex-Serbian military,
and he was like
or
in the
something,
fucking army, and like he like haunted by the stuff that he did there, and like trying to make a new life.
War is when young men go to die for old men, or something like that. I think
and it was like it was like a hardcore look at that stuff, and of course it had like again the satire that GTA has always had about it in general. But
it's New York. It's New York. They did it so right.
Exactly. Like, even now, I'm like, it's so fucking cool. And I just think because of those two things, for me, I think that's definitely my favorite and possibly the best in the series, or at least what I would argue for. But yeah, 4 was just another revelation.
It's such a like dark. It gives me such like a Batman feel kind of for like the story compared to like say San Andreas, which feels more like a 90s Spike Lee movie or something. Like that. If we're gonna compare them all to different types of genres, it's really that thriller drama with less of the comedy that you expect from a Grand Theft Auto series. And I love this one. Has a special place. I still think Vice City might be my favorite of all, just from like all the shit that it had in it, but in terms of like one of the more modern ones, they did this one so right.
No, I absolutely agree. Again, I would put it in one of my favorite games of all time. And again, if not, like
you could swim in this one.
Yeah, that's
true. How bad is that? We forget about you used to just go plunk and done.
Yeah, you
just forget about that.
Right into the water.
But that was just the thing in games. Like you expected that up to that point. Like, if I go in the water, I'm gonna die, obviously. So like, might as well just avoid it. But in 4, you're right. Like, holy shit, I'm alive and I can mess around in the bay. Like,
right, dude. A lot of this is man with the graphic increase. This is all due to them. They're scrapping their old engine. They were using the like a renderware engine, and then they in-house they designed Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, and this is the first time that we really get a use out of it. This actually was used in Rockstar Table Tennis first, before this GTA.
Fucking weird.
Believe it or not. How weird is that? And
I've noticed that with game designers though, they'll pick an easy sport to try and do because the rules are there. And everyone knows what to expect.
It's an easy like test
and
environment.
Frames are so easy to do. Yeah,
true.
And then they just expand the code off of that, right? So I mean, it gives them that nice start.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, this game is beautiful. If you go through and you look at shots of each GTA, this is where you're going to notice the biggest jump graphically.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's gorgeous. So it's easy to say this is like this could be a favorite too. Like, and the story again is darker, which I forgot how dark it really was.
Yeah,
like that shit is pretty dark.
That's why
Nico Bellic is like one of the angrier protagonist that you play. Maybe a close second to Michael and
True.
because he's got some fucking issues.
Yeah,
But that's probably where Michael's idea spawns from too, as they were like, damn, that was, like a lot of people enjoyed how Nico was because it wasn't the same old happy dude just trying to make his life, like every other character.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also felt like you were getting a slice of Liberty City through Nico's eyes, and then they put out Lost in the Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony,
Yes,
which
thank you,
both
were great DLC.
Bring back. Yeah,
oh yeah, and both took
DLC
place
expansion.
congruently. Is that a word?
Yeah,
Yes.
concurrently, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
Concurrently, there you go. With Nico's story.
Yep.
Within
Which
the
you would
same
see them in scenes, like you would see each other.
Yep.
And if you play
Yep.
the story back, you can see these people. Like you see the Damned, you see fucking Gay Tony. Like it's so wild. And in the same verse, you see Nico in these DLCs, which is cool.
Yeah,
and
man.
comes back to like inspire the next generation.
Yeah.
Also brings in the first Latin
Oh, that's right. Yes.
protagonist with I forget his name. Was it Fernando? No, Fernando was the radio guy. You were Gay Tony's bodyguard.
Yeah.
I remember how
I remember
attached
that,
I
right.
found myself to that character, and I was like, I'm so surprised how much I love this one.
Yeah, so those
Yeah.
DLCs were like I take the DLCs to be like part
Oh,
of the
Luis
main game.
Fernando Lopez. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah,
Luis, yes.
and one thing, Matt, that you made me just think of now, because of that, I remember this too. There's one of the missions is to do like a diamond heist or something like that. So of course in the main game you're playing from Nico, but in each DLC you play from Johnny's perspective.
Oh.
And like so then you see like why the deal went wrong. And I
Yes.
thought that was so fucking cool.
Yes, dude. Yes, yeah. That was great reference. Yeah,
Which-
man. There's
which
a couple
really-
of those that you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it really makes you like that. That's another one. Like you can see in the looking back on all of the development of these things that like each time they're trying something new and then expanding on it. Like this whole perspective thing. That's GTA 5. They're taking that whole element and then they finally were able to do what they wanted with it. In that next title.
No, you're right. It's a good call. That's just a final cap off of a moment. I just remember like the thing. It was so awesome that like narratively, like, and I was like maybe like around the time was just getting old enough to like appreciate like them as art and not just as like fucking around and blowing
things up.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. The cultural references.
exactly. I'm like that was a really
Importance
cool
of that.
narrative move for them to do that, and it really
Yeah.
impressed me at the time. And then you're right. So how about we'll jump forward? It's a good transition, Jess. So now it's let's say I think GTA 5 came out still for the tail end of the 360 generation. Right?
We got
Yes.
PS3,
PS3,
yeah.
360, PS4, Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah, so like they had to put it out for all of them.
They're milking
Yeah.
this one.
And we got a 4-year gap on this one too. We're
Yep.
talking 2009 to 2013 is when we finally get GTA, and
Yep.
we've been waiting. We've been hungry. I remember me and Jesse being
me
like
too.
dying. We both went to a midnight release. Did
Yep.
not know that online was not coming out on.
Nope.
Oh, that's harsh. Yeah.
You had
Which-
to wait. Was it a month or it was more? I
A
think?
month. It was a month. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
We
It
were
was something like
dying.
that, yeah.
Yeah, we just like ended up playing single player and talking to each other the whole time because we were so fucking pumped. And
Very nice.
well, we were skipped to the last one. GTA 4 was the first one to have online, which was a really big thing.
Yeah,
as
sorry.
well.
I was waiting for you to like take the online lead on that. So go.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Truly,
True.
you can't overpass that. That was so much fun. They wanted to, they included things. I think there was like, capture the flag and like
Yeah.
Yep.
Stuff like
objective racing and stuff. Real simple stuff. Nothing like it is today, but it was mind breaking because we were exploring the huge map together online, which was something that was so fun. And I think it allowed up to like 10 players or something.
something
So
like
there would be
that, yeah.
chaos in the room. The first chance you got of like live human fucking chaos, which
Yep.
God, did we know what that was going to bring out in the future.
So I got a quick story for you guys. I went for this one too. So you're right. So around that same time too, like I was kind of not as much into the online stuff, like just in general. I'm like, I played I played so much Halo, played so much COD, like whatever. But I was like, you know what? I got to check out GTA Online, like of course. So I remember two things. Me and E jumped in together, and like we were basically like it was like a buddy crime movie. Like we were like, let's jump in a car together and just get up to some chaos here, right? Like,
Yep.
whatever. And then I believe like were there death matches or team matches, Matt? Do you remember? You guys remember? Like
I don't remember exactly all the modes, honestly. 'Cause I didn't look into that,
It doesn't
but it
really
was
matter,
very
like,
minimal.
I
wa-
forget
Yeah.
what it was. Like I remember this though. I was fucking around online by myself, like in my apartment, and I got into this like firefight or like sort of like scuffle with some other dude, and you were like popping out or taking shots at each other, like whatever. And all of a sudden, like I got to give him credit. He had the most. He popped out from his corner and spot on fucking Molotov me, and like my dude was on fire. And, he was like, and through my TV, he goes, "Yeah, burn, motherfucker!" And I was like, "Yo, right on, guy, right on, whoever you are." Like that was such a fun moment. It was so fun and funny.
That's the beauty of GTA Online, that nothing else really has capitalized on that open world.
Like, and so that was really cool. Like that, I was like, it was worth it to play some online on this game for that and for other things. But I just at the time still wasn't playing as many. But that one was one I did pop into more often than anything else. So
yeah, actually, I think they just shut down the servers for that in November of 2020.
That's sad, man. End of an era there. I mean, flash forward to this one when we got GTA Online. Let's mention how shitty it was. Because that was a big thing. It was very minimum. We could never connect. There was always an issue for the first year where we had like where somebody couldn't connect. Like it would be impossible to get four dudes in one room.
That's all coming back to me now too. Yep, you're absolutely correct.
And there was very minimal things to do. There was like 12 missions or something like for like each category of whatever they had. They had racing, very minimum racing. They had team deathmatch, and then they had like the missions from characters, and I felt like we beat them all within the first week, and then we were like, oh, what do we do now?
We farm the most expensive one is what we do.
We did do that, yeah. Then we manipulated. We even did a glitch to get money to try to get cars. I remember that in the beginning.
A lot, and that brought down a whole new world of like people cheating the online system. Because now Rockstar has shark cards that you can actually buy in-game money. Well, so anytime someone cheats the system, they're actually losing money, is how they look at it. So they've done things from putting people in separate servers altogether, cheater servers, putting dunce hats on people.
That was funny,
that they can't remove.
I had one, yeah.
Yeah, you did. I think I've definitely got one too. To straight up banning people's accounts.
Right.
So, permaban.
You're right. It was sort of like it's sort of metally fitting, I guess. It was sort of a Wild West of like the online like experience community. People were just like, whatever, fucking around. Like we've done all the missions, so let's just, like you said, farm money for cool shit or whatever else.
From 1997 until 2013, they'd been training people to fucking do the wrong thing.
Yeah, dude.
What did they expect to happen?
They were,
exactly.
They were permanently making a world that was like more fun to like manipulate in ways other than what we should be doing. Like,
I mean, that's how they create. That's how they created the game. Was like there was a glitch.
Then they armed us to the teeth and let us loose out there on servers against each other. It's like the Hunger Games in a way.
They should have seen it coming a mile away, like you would think,
But they've done a fantastic job about keeping up with this. This is one of the only games that I've seen release stuff for 8 years after the initial release of the title. In terms of DLC, all new heists, new ridiculous vehicles, flying motorbikes with missiles.
I mean, adding the island, a whole new area. You can, whether you have to render it to a whole new server or whatever, it's pretty interesting what they're capable of doing
for free.
I would say they totally redeemed themselves on the poor delivery of the original online, like because of what they've done to overput. And yes, there's shark cards, which they arguably introduced this whole pay-to-play fucking thing with this whole deal. To be honest,
they're getting some of theirs.
They really brought it mainstream.
It's part of it for sure.
But you can totally play this game and get anything without buying a shark card, which is something that I think is amazing. And I think every game should take that platform and keep running with it. If you're going to do pay-to-play, don't do it just make it hard for people to get the cool ass shit, like whatever, but still make it to where people don't have to pay to play.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man, 100%. Like, sure, you might have to grind it a bit, like whatever, but in theory, if you wanted to do it, then you totally could. You don't have to fucking pay microtransactions for the shark cards.
Right? It just seems so dirty, dude. Give me a half-built game, and then I gotta pay you for the rest of it as we go along. This isn't like a credit card payment.
That's unfortunately a model that a lot of them are doing.
There is,
But I mean, Matt and I even jumped on last night on GTA 5 Online to cruise around. I spun the wheel at the casino and won a fucking vehicle.
Hey man, there you go.
Hey,
nice.
Nice things happen.
In the casino, just talking about the advancement of what they're able to do nowadays with the patches and shit, dude. That didn't exist when we got for
forgot
GTA.
about that. You're right.
It was like a horse track in a building you couldn't get in.
No, we have a casino that you can go play all kinds of games, high end, low end. slot machines. I got a penthouse there. Fucking Jesse wins a car there.
I have a
It's something
submarine.
they decided to just patch in, and it shows us the capability of like God knows what these fucking devils are going to be crafting in the next one.
Yeah,
And they're
all
always
shit to
popping
that
out
sick.
like ×3. Like last night, we did a couple of missions that were 3 times the money and experience.
bonus XP
So-
or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, like Matt's point, if you're not buying a shark card, you can do some of these weekly
Mhm.
events that they have going on and still get access to this really
Yep,
cool shit.
definitely.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
definitely try to build the community, which is awesome about them.
Oh, and
They-
that's
they
a whole
have-
thing on its own.
Yeah.
There's literally people that are solely dedicated to running their Grand Theft Auto gang and have legions of
They are very
of
committed
people.
to it.
Yeah.
it's wild. Same with Red Dead, the sister product, we could say.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that have like fucking cavalries, you know, that they like legit just like
Yep,
stay
yep.
in line and shit. It's so amazing to see what this stuff bursts because it is so real that it's only natural that we get these RP servers where people
Oh,
play
that's- yeah.
cops and robbers and on their own terms, and
Yeah, man.
it's wild, man.
It's pretty
Um,
sweet. And sorry, I was gonna say, like, I think I agree with you, Matt, for sure. Like, yeah, it was the online had a rocky launch, absolutely, but I think they sort of knew that, and they're like, all right, to make up for it, they just they just kept dropping out new stuff, adding, expanding shit, like new cool things to do.
Every month, dude. Every month they got some new mode. It's crazy, you know.
They'll throw snow in there for the holidays.
Or whatever.
Ah, the snow is awesome. That's one of the coolest touches any video game's ever done. Is like be seasonal like that and fucking just have the snow out
They should
there.
put the wildfires in then.
Oh fuck! The hills are on fire. Avoid them.
The one thing that I will say is like, we didn't mention the story at all with Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a fantastic story. You play from 3 different perspectives. Michael, who is it? Michael,
Trevor, and God, Clinton.
I have Ned Luke, Sean Fontino, and Stephen Ogg, who played the
Franklin.
character
Franklin. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
And you can switch between them. You play all different missions. The story all kinds of comes together, and then there's I think 3 different endings.
I believe so. Yeah, at least 3. There might be 4, even depending. Like,
Yeah, I think there's
guess-
4. I
guess
think
you
there's
could
4.
say
Oh yeah, true.
spoilers, like whatever. It's 8-year-old game now, but like you could have them all survive, or or
You
each
can
one
kill
might die.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like so you can kill yourself, kill either other of the protagonists, and then you can let everybody live. And I believe
Yep.
those are all 4. And also, again, this is another game that they chose to highlight characters that aren't famous, and they couldn't have done a better job because it spawned their careers. I mean, the one gentleman that played Trevor, we've seen on Walking Dead. We've seen
Yeah.
numerous
Movies,
and I'll
He's
tell you,
in-
he's
dude.
fucking lovely.
Dude, he's awesome. He's in Snowpiercer, and he basically
Yes.
is like
Oh,
Trevor.
yeah.
Like,
He's
really
so
good.
fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
And just I thought I bought in right away on the characters. I was like, holy fuck, the character dynamic is real, and the story intertwines so perfectly.
And it fixed the one problem that some people had with San Andreas of the map being too big. You could spawn to Trevor, who would wake up in a dress on top of Mount Chiliad,
Whatever, yeah.
or
Take
you
the
could
taxi.
spawn, or spawn Michael, and he'd be in the Hollywood area,
Mansion or whatever. Yeah,
dude.
that's right.
Yeah.
There's
So
people that have played this game forever and don't know. You can hop in a taxi, call a taxi, and then put a marker anywhere you want to go, and instant travel too, which is another beautiful thing they
And it was-
capitalized
yeah,
on.
It was an
I
amazing.
do that in online a lot when I need to do stuff.
Yeah, but online you're alive the whole time, and people could just shoot you as you're
Yes.
in a taxi. So you could be just rolling a blunt, and then all of a sudden you're dead.
But yeah, you're right about. So again, they expanded. They pushed the limits of the.
Oh,
of
and
the
added
gen-
animals.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Damn.
Oh.
Well, then Red Dead had the animals too, but
So yeah, no animals online, which was the disappointment the most.
That's
but
the biggest
animals
complaint of mine and Matt's. I think.
animals in the story itself was a whole dynamic on its own that I just thought was so like underappreciated. Like nobody talks about that. It just adds a realism. Like it feels
And
like a
there's-
real world when
And
you have
there's even
like,
a Sasquatch mission.
yep,
there
of
is a
course.
Sasquatch mission. Yeah,
like,
you see
maybe
him through the red scope.
Man, this is a good time since you mentioned it a couple times now. Now, they've always had sort of funny or weird Easter eggs, like even going back probably toward 3, if I'm trying to remember them. So, for example, I know again in 4, if you got into the fucking Statue of Liberty, it would be like a giant, like weird beating heart, and it was like
Chained
fucking
up.
creepy. Yeah,
Mhm.
like, there's and shit like that. So yeah, Sasquatch, like finding him, I think you could kill him or do a mission with him or something like that.
Yeah.
And the UFOs,
Once you've completed, I think all of the other missions, you get a mission to go hunt a Sasquatch.
Yes.
Essentially,
yeah,
it's like a big Easter egg.
Yeah, so like they've always like had like that, and people like another big thing the community does is like try to unearth like secret stuff or like I think
Mysteries
yeah,
about
like,
Chiliad.
there's like
the Mount Chiliad mystery is still not fully
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Right, they're still trying to figure what it all.
They
means.
said there's
Anything.
enough secrets in this game that they will never ever find them all.
I believe
that's
it, man,
that's what it said. They
but
like
there's
just
but there's still a dedicated part of the community who is trying to unravel it all.
Hell
to this
yeah.
day.
Yep.
So yeah.
And I have some theories that we can get into if we do a bonus.
Okay.
Here.
Well, no, I'm just saying like they've always been cool about that too, like hiding little shit, like things for people to unearth. So like if you spend enough time or you do like certain things specifically, like or like you just happen to chance upon like, oh shit, it was a cloudy day or a night, and then the UFO appears at a certain time in a certain location and all that shit.
Yep.
This one really went hard with the time and location aspect of Easter eggs with that. There's quite a few things like where if you're a certain time you can see ghosts, you can see UFO, you can see Sasquatch.
There's little side missions to that. I don't know if I'd consider them Easter eggs, but like you could never encounter them or do them if you weren't looking for them. Like there's a serial killer.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
About that. Yeah, that's right.
That was the coolest one.
Yeah.
Did it in Red Dead as well, which they did it way more disturbing in Red Dead.
Yes.
You could find body
no,
parts
that's
like
right.
fucking hammered to a wall.
Yeah, I remember that too. That's really cool.
There's a lot more gruesome in Red Dead.
But man, yeah, just so intricate on the delivery of things that the average player that's just following the linear story will miss out on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not looking for them, or if you're just like I'm just gonna do the regular stuff, like okay, but there's so many cool things you might not get to see or experience.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's why there's such a great series, honestly, and such a great title and great developers. It's the fact that they care enough to create this world that we can fuck around in.
Yeah, like that has so many possibilities and so many like layers, things to unravel for sure. And perhaps then that's a good time to mention that. Speaking of GTA 5, it is the biggest selling, not video game, entertainment product ever at this point of all time. Generated roughly $6 billion fucking dollars since its release.
Holy shit!
That's motherfucking insane.
Those shark cards, baby.
A lot of it, of course, online, like probably more than
It's probably
half
$4
that.
billion of it is sharks cards.
4 billion in shark cards.
Kids, poor parents that they fucking were like, "What did you spend $2,000 on?"
Yeah, that might be true. Like certainly a lot of it is going to be generated from that, but it's sold even itself. It sold as of February of this year. It sold 140 million copies worldwide. Like that's really.
And it's been out for 8 years.
Yeah, multi-generation console.
But still, even so, yeah, man.
Yeah.
So many different avenues that you can purchase this game. I mean, it's on everything.
Yeah, and
you
I mean,
know?
and they're keeping it afloat, like you said. They haven't abandoned it. They're just still upkeeping
not.
it. Like they're just.
And they ported over some of the older titles to like mobile and stuff now, which is insane.
Yeah, you can play like GTA San Andreas on your fucking
I was
Android now.
I was playing fucking 3 on a big swivel TV, and now I can play it on my fucking iPhone.
This is ridiculous.
Exactly.
I heard they even bumped the graphics on the ports too, which is kind of cool. Makes me want to play them.
That makes sense. So you just give them like just a bit of an upgrade that you can.
You get that HD feel on.
I say
fucking
reskin
GTA
it, make it look like 4. Come on,
dude, that's a dream. Is make Vice City like or San Andreas like,
or even 3,
like 4 or.
There's something about 3 that's it's like perfect in my mind for some reason, even though it's so blocky.
I would take a remaster, like a modern gen remaster of either. Fuck, why don't they just do both and fucking bundle it?
Bro.
Boom, people would buy that shit. Like
cruising into Diablo in the fucking in GTA 3 on the way to go get that Banshee out of that dealership, dude.
Yeah, man,
come on now.
Stop.
Well, one thing we never mentioned was the payphone missions, and I always thought those were super odd and weird and a callback.
GTA 2. GTA 2 is when that started. The payphone would show up. That's how you'd get your side missions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also the like first appearance of the gang affiliations where you got multiple gangs that you're working for, which is kind of cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
The payphone, man. Yeah, it's an intricate piece of GTA.
Yes, it's where it all the mission. Side mission stuff kind of started.
Payphones feel dirty, don't they? I mean, that's only
very.
It's weird, sure. But I always forgot about the 2. But yeah, it's a good point. Like they had that, and it was a really good mechanic, like a good system to introduce you to stuff and give you missions and shit. So yeah, so all right, so now GTA 5's been out 8 years, guys. We're all fans. This is going to be my bonus question, and I actually was talking about it. Now, what I'm going to say, my answer, I've stolen from another friend because I thought it was a really good idea, and he's not on the podcast. But in the future, for 6 or whatever they're going to call it, where should they go? What should they do? What should they sort of draw inspiration from? What story you guys want to see, or what a setting / city do you want them to do it in?
I'm so skewed from like all the rumors and like the main rumor that's like probably
Yeah,
gonna be true. I know.
What's the whisper mill say about it, Matt?
Like, so what they're saying is like GTA 6 is probably going to involve Vice City, and it's also going to probably involve like
Multiple
an area
cities.
that's like basically like Brazil.
Okay.
It's going to be like Rio de Janeiro, and it's going to be like a mix of the two that you're going to fly between, and it's going to be set back into the day too, like 1970, 1980, like
That'd
era.
be cool.
That's what like multiple articles that I've read that seem
I'm
like
worried
PC
about
Gamer, you know.
I'm worried about the period piece.
I know,
Because
dude.
how are they going to keep up with doing like the stuff that they've been doing in terms of like flying cars, tanks, like crazy
Bring it
technological
back
shit?
in tech.
And-
Yeah.
But yeah, bring
No
it back.
phones, no fucking internet, no fucking.
It's gonna feel more like closer. It's gonna be like a halfway between Red Dead and
More of the travel
hell-
bullshit, which is
hell,
going to
man,
suck too.
they
Think
should
about
just-
that back and forth to do everything manually because there's no way to handle shit, you know?
So that would be kind of rough and disappointing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I think that's a good way.
I'm saying, let's go opposite. Fucking cyberpunk London. We're going. We're going in the
That would be cool.
future. We're doing the finally. We're getting a fucking London Grand Theft Auto game,
Well, I'll
and
say
it's
this. If you want to play London, play Watch Dogs Legion. It's kind of what you're wanting.
Watch Dogs is pretty fun. Yeah,
It's-
I do enjoy it.
Fine. It's
I mean, we
basically
have a whole slew of these like kind of
Yeah.
follow-up GTAs.
We didn't even mention like the GTA clone thing, which became an
Oh.
industry term because it
The
got,
Getaway, dude. You guys ever play The Getaway?
No, but I'm sure.
No.
The Getaway was my first like love of a GTA clone.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
This was like a UK-based GTA clone. Their graphics were better, and the steering of a car was more realistic and tighter.
All right. fair
And you were a cop undercover, and you would like arrest people and shit. You could just like arrest a pedestrian, and you just roll up on them and arrest them. So I would just role play being a cop as like
it's
a
like real life, huh?
13-year-old. Just be like, "Ah," and just get up and fucking cuff every pedestrian I ever saw. So there'd just be lines of pedestrians on the ground because you couldn't do anything with them besides put them in cuffs on the ground. So they'd just be laying on the ground hogtied.
It's like I swear they were rioting.
But yeah, the GTA clone thing was so real, and honestly gave us a ton of other enjoyable games like Crackdown. You know, I mean,
Saints Row is my favorite
Saints
GTA
Row.
clone series. I would say like. I
Ooh,
like
that's a
that
good
quite
one.
bit.
That has its own culture too, and whole story that's rich as like hell. I mean, it's gone on. I mean, how many have they made of those? 6?
4, I believe, with an expansion. I
Oh,
think.
4. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought they were
Remember-
three.
And that they basically paved the way for that style of like shoot 'em up, open world, crime chaos kind
Yeah.
of
Saints Row
story.
was
Yeah.
always a bit more wacky or like more over the top
Cartoonish.
in the sense.
Spoofy,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Cartoonish is the perfect
Yep.
word. And like
Yep.
so they knew that, so they leaned into that. Like that's fine. But I'm saying like there was a crop of clones like in the wake of
Oh,
GTA
yeah.
itself cropped up, right? And I did play Saints Row, most of them, if not all, 2, 3, and 4 for sure. And I was like,
I
yeah,
played one.
they're good. They're good GTA
they weren't
clones.
bad.
They're fun. Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're intricate too. They have their own intricacies too. I mean,
Yep.
as far as like developing your whole enterprise as a criminal, there's a lot of dynamics in those games as well. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, and even the other side of that spectrum on the same bar, you have what was that detective game, LA Noir?
Well, that was Rockstar.
that
too.
was Rockstar too.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, taking it more serious and like trying to read into kind of like a Fallout feel with like telling if the person's lying or not.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. And I enjoyed LA Noir. I know it's like kind of divisive. It wasn't as well received as certainly as
I
It
loved
wasn't
it.
as open.
I
that's
never got
why.
to like finish playing it. It's always been on my list of ones to go back to.
I want to do it on VR. VR
Yeah,
seems
that
like the
would
way
be
to go
cool for
now.
sure. Like, it's a good
smash
story.
a glass over someone's head and be like, "You're
Tell me!"
lying."
Yeah. I thought it was a really cool story, but it just wasn't as quite like because it was 1940. So like even the cars aren't that crazy, and like they just don't. It doesn't have
Well,
that.
The
feel
driving
to it.
kind of sucked
Dude,
too.
how about Mafia? If you want to talk about clones that are great,
Yes.
Mafia
All right,
series.
that's a good one. Yeah, true.
20s, I mean, and they make
call.
it feel like fucking amazing. Everything
Yeah.
about it you're into. I mean, you're extorting local businesses. They take a lot of the engines, like the gang takeover is changed over into just what businesses and blocks you control from extortion. You know, and whoever's
Right on, yeah.
protecting that, so it's like there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's just each person like each distributor pulls off their like own feel, I guess. And some people have been way
They
more
put their own spin
successful
on it, but yeah, I
as
mean,
putting the spin on it. That's
But
real.
imagine trying to like do that without GTA having been there.
Never
first.
would have fucking happened.
course,
We wouldn't
yeah.
have Mafia. We
For
wouldn't
sure.
have Saints Row. We wouldn't have any of these.
no, I agree. And Mafia's a good call. I almost read about that one, but yeah, like that.
But
The mechanics are in place and they work so well that then you can take like, all right, let's try a little bit. Twist them up a bit. Make a different
Yeah.
cocktail from it essentially.
true argument, we might not have GTA without Driver. To be honest, like we were saying in the beginning, of
Yeah.
this, is like that's really is like what pushed them to go
It
3D.
spurred them on, sure. And then
Yeah,
Driver became
so-
like a defunct series. Like I guess GTA.
It's so bomb, dude. It was
I don't
so
want
good
to talk
begin
about
with.
Driver.
Yeah.
Driver 3 is the biggest dog shit in the world. Like, and there was one of them. I don't know if it was 3 or not, but you remember you could just like highlight like a cursor and just like transition into another car. You could just like move on the map and just like take
wait.
over a car.
Yes,
it was the worst move ever.
It was Driver San Francisco, I believe, was that one, if I remember
Dude,
correctly. Now that you're mentioning it, It's
I know
coming
what they
back
were
to me
trying
now.
to do. They were like, let's make it easy on them, but it made you feel like gross. You were like,
Yeah.
ew,
I
I want to
tried
get
to
out of the
for-
car and steal the car. Like,
I tried to forget about that. Thanks for fucking reminding me, man.
It was one of the most repulsive
I
like
did
moves
play
that
some-
I
No,
know
I
was
said
in
I
good
want to talk
intent.
about Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, how about this? So let me give you my answer, right? And where should GTA go next and narratively? And my one buddy was like, we were just bullshitting about it in my yard the other day, and I was like mentioning, I'm doing a podcast about it. He's like, yo, they should fucking basically rip off or like do a template from Training Day where you become like a bad cop.
Fuck.
And I was like, that's a really fucking good idea.
That's a good one.
They should do that. So
That would
that's
be
a good
what
one.
I'm stealing. Like that's be really cool narratively. Now I don't know where to put it. Like,
I'd love to get an
Set it.
Alaska map, honestly.
yeah,
I don't know if there'd be
Arctic.
enough
Snow,
to kinda-
snow machines and shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know it's not the most populous place or whatever, but it'd be more like
Crime is
wilderness
written
or-
there.
Yeah,
Small,
I mean-
small town drug dealer in the.
Yeah, yeah.
And
fucking
you already
Arctic,
had
dude.
the
I mean,
cut scene in the beginning of 5 where they were up in Canada, I believe. It was supposed to be like the
yeah,
Yukon
that's right. That's
glitch
right.
into that map again. It was fun. Yeah.
with the alien under the ice, another
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Very nice. Yeah. So like I don't know.
Man.
That's my answer that I stole, but I'm not sure.
That'd be cool.
I would
to see
love-
him do it like a location wise, like yeah, maybe somewhere in Europe or something as well. If not London, like I don't know, maybe like
Australia.
Australia.
It would be nice to get a new place, like that's not going to be the similar, like just somewhere we've been plenty of times before.
They're gonna hit you with Anytown USA.
or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, if they bring that back, I will never play a game again from Rockstar. Fucking.
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't
one
know.
black mark.
I feel like they need to conquer the cartel styling. Like I think that's a storyline that they could 100% pull as like a young cartel member coming from like Mexico, coming from Brazil, coming from Colombia, whatever, and just fucking playing their role into the United States, and then you have the appearance of like Liberty City or San
All right,
Andreas.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. I like
Vi-
that angle.
the whole idea of Vice City and South America or a Cuba type of thing would be interesting too.
Yeah,
Dude,
cute.
that's what-
I
that's
mean,
a good
it,
one, yeah.
it would just be revisiting the whole thing, like of Vice City in the Scarface aspect of it. Because I
Style,
mean,
yeah.
True.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. And honestly, I mean, let's be real. We'd probably take whatever the fuck they give us because we know
Yeah,
what
I
work
mean,
is gonna go into
I'm gonna
this.
buy it regardless, but
It's gonna be
just
epic
conjecture,
regardless.
just speculation or what we, what you might.
It's
be
it's
cool
just
to
a
see.
matter of when will it happen.
I mean, dude, if they
Because
do
with-
Brazil, hold on. If they do Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and it's in the favelas or whatever, like, and it's in that mountain with like all that crazy gang-ridden city, you tell me you're not gonna enjoy that?
No, I mean,
It'd be-
I would.
it'd
That
be
sounds
cool.
pretty
Pretty cool.
it's just it's always been USA. So
That's why I'm
like,
hoping they get out of
besides the
that.
London stuff.
Which they touched on in an overhead format, so we could definitely please fucking use a 3D of that at least.
No,
That would be
If they're
cool.
not going to go anywhere else, like go
It-
somewhere
that-
international.
That seems like the predictable one is that they pull out London, but then Vice City is sitting there because they did LA once before or twice now.
Twice now. Yeah.
They've done New York twice now,
Twice,
and Vice City they've only done once.
only
So-
once.
Yeah.
If they did it right, I would like it, but it feels limited because I mean, there's only so much you could do with a Miami copy. Miami's not that big, like you know what I mean, and it's like one kind of area. There's no.
But if
forest,
you have
there's
the-
nothing. It's like beach and fucking.
If you do
water
have the
and-
islands,
Yeah, you can make it dense, I guess. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
if
don't
you
know.
kind of
include
include the keys or something,
Caribbean
like
or
fake
the
keys.
Caribbean, like you were
Yeah.
saying, like kind of branch south and allow
That'd be kind of
'cause-
cool if you had to fly to an island.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
some drug running between the, exactly. Like I don't know.
There's so many
I'd,
ways.
I'd be
I
down
just-
with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they really add to the intricacy of like the feeling of like this being a real life, like like the drug running and the whole life aspect of it all. And I almost wish they would bring back like the, not exactly, but the buff and fat thing from San Andreas, that real life element that your character is a live person. Something to add to that would make it feel better because I feel detached now in the GTA series because I feel like my character, he's like just a fucking computer, you know what I mean? But if you had to eat and sleep and shit like that, that might like break
And it
that.
affected your appearance even. Like that might
Yeah,
be a bit more
dude.
immersive. Yeah, I feel you on that.
You know
more
what I mean?
character
Like, give us-
customization, kind of in that way.
Yeah, give us something to make us really be attached to like that part of the character again.
I don't understand why in Red Dead you can make yourself like look like an ugly bog monster, but like in in GTA, everyone looks like a clone, like
they're all the
or something
same.
from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Saving money on the the character models or something. But I see.
I guess so.
Oh, Saints
Yeah.
Row did let you mess with their character. Like speaking of that, like you could
There you
create
go.
your own person. But I guess counter that, Jesse, would be something like, they're writing a very specific story, so like they want a specific character each time. Like I would think, right? It's
Well, I mean, I'm saying for
little weird.
online. I understand with
okay.
the story. Yeah, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Then I'm in it. I'll subscribe.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, all right. So we agree on that anyway. I just want to mention that. But yeah, boys. So I mean, I haven't actually, Matt. You know more about the rumor mill stuff. I haven't really paid as much attention to, like, again, what's coming out, what the leaks might be, or what people think, or what whatever is coming out of Rockstar that may be relied upon. But
I mean, they're saying it's going to be drug empire stuff. It should have some mechanics based on like trying to create a drug empire, the growth of it.
That'd be cool. Like,
But I mean, this is rumor mill shit that, I mean, could be completely rumor, because this has happened multiple times with GTA. They would tell us one thing and PC Gamer would be commenting on it like this.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, oh no, it's actually, we're going back to Liberty City. Like, so it's like, we don't really know. This is just somebody's perspective that's made it mainstream.
But
interesting to think about.
It's almost been 10 years.
It's been so long. So think about the jump. Every time it's been a longer jump, it's been a real big jump as far as the game's concerned. So maybe we're going to get lucky and it's going to be like new engine, insane possibilities. Hopefully they're not going to try to do us dirty and make it for like Xbox One. Hopefully they're going to shoot for the next gen so that they
I would
use the full
assume
potential of what those consoles can do, instead of limiting it so that they can get away with multi-console release for money.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? I mean, this is just my pure speculation, conjecture. Perhaps they're waiting for like a year or so into this gen now, the PS5 gen and the XS and S. Right. So like that means they will, like, maybe that is the delay or the reason why they're just holding off, because then they can truly take advantage of all the actual new gen stuff. And you're right, like not sort of like half-ass, half chop it up to have to do it for the tail end of the old one and the new one at the same time or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no releases on the new consoles that are worthwhile even transitioning to yet. Like, it's like every time. Like, it's like I bought the Xbox One like day one, and it was a year or a year and a half before I had even a friend that had got one.
They have to build up the library, like, yo. Like,
even when they got it finally, I think Jesse might have been one of the first ones that got it. There was no games we could really play together. There was like some shitty games. So it was like so disappointing with how slow they are to get the archive going of building games that are like decent. You get these shitty releases that are rushed. And I think GTA is avoiding that, like you're saying. Like, it just makes sense that they're going to wait to understand the full potential of what these new fucking consoles can do, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what I think. Like, but it sort of seems to match. Like, I would argue that that's sort of their MO, like, or generally has been. So like, that'd be
get the most of what you can.
That'd be what I think about it. But it is interesting to think about, and I always, of course, do keep my eye on at least anything that they do say or whatever news does come out that's more than just.
I was gonna say the latest news that's being predicted as of like a day or two ago, at least, is they're saying like don't expect it for another like 2 years at the earliest.
Woo! Yep.
Because they're saying that nothing's, while Rockstar hasn't officially announced GTA 6, it feels like an eventuality. So basically, the mark based off of the way that they market the games, people are predicting that it's going to be at least 2 years, which means next gen is most likely
and comfortably next gen. So they're going to have a great fucking feeling of how that console works, man.
Which means we're all forking out money for a new gen.
I'm definitely, and I'm fine. I'm actually kind of happy it's 2 years, because I don't want to buy the next gen yet. I want that console to be abused and them to figure out what needs to be fixed in the next update. Because I'm sick of buying the first console and having issues. Luckily, my day one Xbox, I can't knock, is running. But I had so many issues with 360 that it's like, I'll never buy the first like 2 years anymore.
No, I feel you, man. Like, that's just a general thing. Sure, I'm sort of the same way. Like, I put it off, or I mean, I would get a PS5 now if I can, if the goddamn scalpers weren't buying them. But like,
that's disgusting too. I mean,
it's been enough time that, like, there's been no launch issues. The issue is that there's not many games to play, as you mentioned.
There's nothing, dude.
True new gen stuff.
A couple maybe, and I'll tell you what, they're probably dog shit. They're probably garbage that was rushed to make it so that there was actual games on release, and that's what they needed.
Yeah. Like, I do have an XS that I actually was gifted, so I didn't even,
What?
I was lucky, but I've been playing.
Nice.
I've been playing fucking Game Pass shit, like older games. You know, shit
Yeah,
that's on
they're
Game
starting to
Pass.
update that shit though. Like some of that shit's getting boosted to like be compatible and like be like updated a little, better frame rate and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. I'm intrigued
sure.
by. I've seen
Like-
that on Game Pass, but
I don't know.
that's cool. I mean,
guess-
yeah.
I was gonna say just that. So when did you guys remember? When did Red Dead 2 come out? Like 2 years ago,
Ooh.
2018. I want to say.
Was it 2019?
It might be. I don't remember. All I'm saying
Yeah.
is, like that's clearly what they're working on. Like between it, so it kind of makes sense. Just going back.
2018. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So the time gap thing, right? Like, all right, it took them X years from 2013 to 18, from GTA 5 to Red Dead 2. Now, like, it's going to be another, 4 or 5 years between Red Dead 2 and whatever GTA 6, we'll call it for now, the next GTA. So, like, it's not that big of a gap. Like you said, just,
Well,
it's not they've
I'm
done
won-
nothing.
I'm wondering who they have working on it too, because as we mentioned before, there's a number of different rock stars. Rockstar San Diego was the one who originally published Red Dead Redemption, but then they like pushed it off to another one
They
of the
shipped it
rock
out. Yeah,
stars,
okay, yeah.
so, which I mean is rough to do,
Sure.
So
It's-
they all,
yeah.
that definitely will cause delays, especially if they're doing that with 6, or if they're having everyone work
Well,
on it. in
GTA,
piecemeal.
they have
All
everybody.
hands on
Like,
deck. Yeah.
yeah, that's how they did with 5. They had
5.
every single one of their operatives working on this fucking thing, and I think they're going to continue that because I mean, who makes the most? What
Yeah.
one of their like games is going to make them the most money? I mean, Red Dead's great, but let's be real. Like GTA has become a piece of the world's culture.
Yeah,
You know?
man, it's part of the fucking zeitgeist. You're right.
I
Like,
mean,
at
it's
this
had
point,
issues with Australia, UK, America, like governments. Like there's been so much crazy shit. Like Australia got like a different version of
Well,
GTA a lot of the
I don't
time
know if
than
you
we
guys
did.
know this. Australia's a dick about it because they have very weird like censorship laws. Like lots of
Yeah.
games are hard to
Okay.
get released in Australia. Not like
Yeah.
GTA obviously would be one of them, but it's not just because of it. Like I think Disco Elysium couldn't be released in Australia because of some bullshit. Like, and
Huh.
I'm just saying, like Australia's always had this weird thing about it, and many games fell into the trap of like, well, Australia says we can't release, so fuck them.
Well,
They're saying fuck us, we're saying fuck them.
I mean, Rockstar really doesn't give a fuck either,
No.
because they produced Manhunt, which was like one of the games that got banned for a little bit in the
That's
U.S.
true.
because
Talk
and I
about
pl-
rumors. There's
and I
rumors
played
they're
it.
gonna bring that back, and God,
Nice.
I pray they do because
Wow,
that was
really?
the most extreme game I've ever played.
It was horrifying, and
Yeah.
it got banned a bunch, and that got so they're known for making games that
Yeah, that's
just
true. Like
cause controversy.
they toe the line and sometimes cross it, and they're like, whatever. Like
They
we're Rockstar,
purposely
we-
cross the line. The line is the bar, and they want to raise it.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of which, like I have to ask this question because like I know, like I said before, I noticed that every time they release a game, there's a little tidbit of like something that they want to do better in the future. Is there anything we see? Can we use our psychic minds here that we see in 5 or in 4 that they would have wanted to do better that they'll try and do in 6?
That is a good question. I'm
It's tough. It's tough to think about because like we're not as smart as them.
Well, I got one. You know what? I don't know if this is the best answer, but when you mentioned like this, CJ getting fat, slim, whatever. Like if you remember in 5, you'd have different stats. So like you could have Franklin be a better driver, or like there's
Yep,
different
true.
skills you could build up. So maybe like I know they're not traditionally like RPG-ish, but they might lean into that stuff and have,
That
like,
would be cool.
like a skill tree or
Des-
something like that.
Design your character like multiple playouts almost of
Yeah.
how your character forms. Like yeah,
Skills
you're
like
becoming more of a
lockpicking and
wheelman.
shit.
You're
Yeah.
more of a thief. You're more of like
And that- 'cause
that's
in
pretty
the-
cool.
In the heists, they've kind of had that a little bit too, where it's kind of like, oh, you need to have someone do
that's
this
right.
keypad.
They had like stats or whatever.
puzzle.
Yep, yeah. So I'm saying that.
So-
I just thought of that one as you were thinking about as you asked me. And I was.
I
thinking,
could
I'm like,
see that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I could
"Man,
see
that'd be
that.
cool."
Fallout style building of your character, and really, or like a Skyrim almost, like really like assigning like a real
And maybe
fucking identity.
maybe they lock it out at a certain point, so it's like you can only you have to choose in the
Do
skill
X or
tree. And you
whatever,
can't
yeah,
really
yeah.
go back.
It'd be a lot of work, but to have alternative paths as well. Which
Yeah.
kind of tends to get messy with games. If you have that multiple path, it tends to be
Yeah,
it
I-
slims
I
down the
feel like-
whole feeling. But
I feel like they wouldn't change that. Like they're telling a linear story, just like a huge, like expansive one. But it's not like you have like, I don't know, like the Fallout style or Skyrim style, like faction choices. Like it's gonna do what you're gonna do anyways. But maybe,
I could
like,
see them working the job stuff a little more too.
Yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah.
In terms of like they already have a lot of the businesses and things like that you can run, and you can hire people to do like the heist with you. But I could see them doing more of like a community board type of thing, where it's like I need a driver, a lock person, and you know,
security
gunman.
guy or something.
Yeah. For this heist, and then you put up how much you're paying for each of them.
Well, that's
And
one of
then
the things
people
they've
could
always.
subscribe on or
I like
something.
that. I like that.
That's one of the things they've always wanted to do too, and they've evolved too. Is they want you to. They want the creators have always said they want you to start poor and work your way up to having wealth.
Right. Yeah.
Which is something that fits into that. They could totally evolve on, and
It's
I
the
definitely
American
enjoy
dream.
that. Really, instead of like just like with GTA, like you do like 10 missions, and it's like, oh, now I got fucking 300 grand in the bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like making a legacy of like you're fucking really grinding to finally get to that level of like, oh, I can go buy a car, or I can buy the fucking suit even, or like, you know, shit like that, making it really feel, you know, like Nico was a quick jump. You were like this guy that's just like fresh into the country, and then all of a sudden like a couple missions you're like riding with the fucking Italian mafia, and like you're making money. You know what I mean?
Right. If you remember the mission, I think it was like maybe the last mission of the first act. So like you're transitioning to Act 2, and you rob the fucking bank, and now you have like 100, whatever it was. Like
dude, and that was quick.
Yeah,
That was you could get there within 2 hours probably.
You could get to that mission pretty quickly if you're just like banging through. And now
Yeah, because I remember being like, when am I gonna get the money? And it was like, oh, that was quick.
It was a cool mission, but that's true. They do always have it feel as if you're building yourself up, from nothing into like a kingpin essentially.
Which is why they make those crazy vehicles like $4 million or something.
Oh, fuck that. No, that's
so you're
great.
like, oh, do I really want to buy this flying motorcycle?
I do appreciate that too. Like it's like, yeah. Although the cheaters were ruining that because then they got everything. But
I mean, they're gonna ruin it no matter what.
Yeah. But it is fun. It is kind of rewarding when you finally do get that $4 million and you're like, I'm gonna buy this flying motorcycle.
Well,
Like
I love my jet bike.
And then I just gotta watch because I won't spend the money, and I just watch him fly in the sky.
And
I
it's
go,
not a
that's cool.
two-seater.
Can I take it for a ride?
Yeah, dude.
But I think we're arguing, you know, like the thing that their mission statement is almost of like just always pushing the envelope and increasing the idea of like this is a real world and making that feeling true of like every intricacy. It's not just the storyline, it's not just the graphics or the development of like the rendering of like a city, but it's like this, like, you know, creating this whole genre of fake DJs, the Easter eggs, the animals for me and you, Jesse.
Yes,
you know, the
they
little
can bring
things
that
that just
online. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
you're right. I mean, it's all
They're
those
gonna-
things
the
combined,
cadence-
and then more so. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine the cadence they're going to add to this next one. That's just going to probably blow our minds. Like, honestly,
No,
I doubt that they're going to disappoint.
looking
I don't
forward.
think Rockstar is going to be one of those companies that falls off.
No,
I really don't.
Yeah, like you said, like I guess as we should probably wrap up. We've been talking about. I could talk about GTA for another 5 hours, but perhaps
Oh,
we shouldn't
dude,
make
hell yeah.
everyone listen to us talk. But no, like I agree. I'm totally fine with take as much time as they're going to take. They're going to do it anyways. But I think they're going to use that time, as you said, to fully figure out the capabilities, and then that's going to let them do like the next new mind-blowing world, or maybe they could do 3 maps of the same size, huge size in one game. Like that'd be ridiculous.
Dude, I
don't
could
know.
see them taking Paul Blart and making it fucking ridiculous. You know, like I just have so much faith. in Rockstar.
I believe you, Matt, or I agree that they could do that. I just would suggest that they
I hope they
not-
don't. I'm not saying I hope
Don't
they do.
give us that side story. Don't give us that Liberty City story.
You're just cruising on the little fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, as
cut
they can
that out
fly,
of the game. Like,
they can fly as close to the sun as they want, but they keep fucking melting the wings every time they have these online issues. And
Bro,
like it's almost expected now, because it's like, yeah, we get it. You guys are awesome. You're gonna do fucking 4 years of work in 2 years and makes this cool thing, but could it work for the rest of us who don't have supercomputers?
it would be nice if that was
That's
the case.
my one wish. Is I hope that the next one does not have the issues that we did with this last online.
They can't stress test it until they get
Until the
everyone
servers
on.
are heated. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it. I don't remember. They might have done a beta for 4 and 5. I don't quite remember, but they could do something like that. So
Yeah, it'd be
at
nice.
least, if
Some
there
early
are,
access.
if there are big snags or whatever, then perhaps they can catch them before it goes. Open
Give us
side.
OGs like the golden ticket, so we
Yeah,
can
dude.
fucking get in there, man.
Yeah, like what do we got to prove that
Do a
like we've been playing
contest
this
or
shit?
whatever.
Do I need to get a tattoo? Because I will.
Dude, I gotta show my original copy of GTA 1. Come on, dude.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, no, I think we've covered a lot of GTA territory and a lot of crossover in our personal enjoyment of it. It is a great series, and yeah, we could probably again bang out 2-3 more episodes about it, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we should probably wind it down at least for now for this time. So yeah, if you have any comments, drop us your experiences and your favorite GTAs. Drop a line. But for now, I've been Scott Thurlow, and I've been joined by Matt and Jesse, the American Slacker of the American Slacker podcast, and we have hijacked and committed crimes and sold drugs, and I think it's time to peace out. Time to go to the spray or paint and spray or whatever.
Spray.
Yeah.
Get repainted.
Need new skin, baby.
Yep. And disappear. So, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, dudes. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you for joining the Lost Signals Games and Gaming Culture. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows and more, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates.